Thank you, Cassie. I will now discuss our plan to increase voter turnout. In order to start rectifying the issue of poor turnouts in our nation's elections, the message needs to be preached early and often by schools and parents that each person's vote can have a direct impact on your life. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, in 2012, 56.5% of all eligible voters actually voted in the 2012 elections. However, the turnout within the 18 to 24-year-old age group in this election was much lower at only 38%. Most teens think that their vote won't count among the millions of votes that are cast. Imagine that this bucket here is full of sand. Each grain of sand would represent one vote in the state of Texas in 2012. So how do we convince youth that their grain of sand actually matters? Voting today is a very simple and convenient task. A study at James Madison University took a long look at such things as unrestricted absentee voting, in-person early voting, election day registration, and motor vehicle and mail registration, and found that the voter turnout in U.S. elections may be less about convenience and cost than expected. Therefore, it is clear that people who do not vote don't do so because of the inconvenience, but because they are not motivated to vote. It's human nature to take action only when those actions have a direct impact on yourself. Teaching young people the importance of voting could lead to a new generation of responsible voters. People need to learn that every vote has the chance to impact them. The politicians that are elected will pass laws that have a direct impact on the voters. In order to convince people of this fact, the message needs to be preached early and often in homes and schools. There are many ways for schools to teach the importance of voting to their students. For example, student governments within schools allow students to campaign and to vote for fellow students. The small scale of these elections can preach the importance of each vote. Another way to introduce students to the election process is through mock elections. Mock elections allow students to participate as if they were actually voting in the election before they are actually of voting age. Here they will be introduced to current issues and how the current issues will have an effect on their lives. There are groups that organize nationwide mock elections, such as National Student Parent Mock Election, whose project aims to encourage young people to share their opinions and concerns about national topics, social issues, education, and their communities. Now I'll explain what the impact would be if these efforts were implemented. Providing motivation for young voters will lead to a generation with a more knowledgeable and involved electorate. That's why we believe catching people while they're young is our only hope in crafting a responsible society with regards to voting. It's important to reach youth early while they're still at home in school, because here at least you have a captive audience. Once they leave home, it may be too late to preach these values. In these settings, the message of the importance of voting and the impact that elected officials have on all citizens can be hammered home. Our government works best when the voting public is engaged and informed in current issues. Instilling the importance of participating in elections in our youth will plant a seed that will be passed down to their children and to future generations. Without this, we find ourselves with a disengaged, apathetic voting public that will lead to politicians that are out of touch with the citizens' needs and desires. Next, Chastity will speak about what we can do to encourage others to vote.